Hi everyone. I thought today I'd tell you a story about my relationship with Archangel Metatron. Now, I connect in with all sorts of different beings, and I think it's really important because in my teachings of assisting other people on intuitive living, I think it's so easy when people go into their sixth sensory ability to not take responsibility for their own higher self and the amazing information that comes through from our own connections. I think historically there's always been, I am channeling Great Chief this, and I am channeling, this, and I'm channeling that, and I'm channeling this, and I'm channeling that. So channeling very much is when we open ourselves and our minds up to share space within ourselves with another being, whether that's whatever sort of being. It's a different vibrational essence than exists within your own soul. Everything that exists within your own soul is your higher self. That's you. So I think over the last several years, people have actually started to accommodate the fact that actually that's me. That's the stuff that's coming through from my soul. So it does take a bit of practice to actually start to identify what the different voices are, what the different energies are, what the different senses are. And it's very important to me to be able to be very clear about what and who I'm listening to. I find like that. I really like to know the differences. And so I'm very clear these days about what's my stuff and what's outside of me but joins with me. So this is an energy called Archangel Metatron, and I really do believe I'm not asking anybody else to believe that. I'm not needing anyone else to believe any of that. It's just important for me to understand where this direction is coming from. And I was walking a number of years ago along the south coastal Cornwall pathway, and I love the sea and I love cliffs, so those sort of walks are great for me, and I find them quite meditative, quite freeing, and I entered a creative space in my own mind just with the rhythm of walking. And I heard a voice that I remembered hearing when I was about 12, a big booming voice. It's a really big boom like that. And I remember when I was 12, like, and I got a bit worried about it because it was like, what was that? And then it just disappeared, didn't hear it again until this coastal pathway, which was 3, 5, 6, 7 years ago now. So that would have been in 2012, funnily enough. Oh, I only just twigged that one. And this voice came back and he introduced himself as Archangel Metatron. I've been a healer for a very long time, all my life, don't know how many lifetimes, and a trainer. And so it's really important to get the information and the detail. I love detail. And he started basically downloading, he asked me to deliver with him 3 years of Cosmic Awakening series in the UK, in different hotels around the place. And we visited some sacred lands and we did some amazing, loving, empowering rituals about the place. A short time after, basically, we came to a point where I was supposed to have a year off. I don't remember that one. But basically, he came in with Seraphina. They joined in unity. And so it was almost like one part of it was with Archangel Metatron, and the other part that we're still in at the moment, this is April 2019. And she's asked us to do 4 years, 4 retreats a year, called Enchanted Lands. And it's a combination of these two coming together as unity that I spend quite a lot of my time actually receiving input from, some would call it channeling, and then allowing that to come through in some way, shape or form. But I was to put it into context, I thought it would be nice to share with you what the original vision, if you like, that Archangel Metatron gave me. And he said, in no uncertain terms, because he's a very powerful energy, very loving, very expansive, very knowledgeable, and very, 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 very detailed. So he came through and he showed me this land, okay? So we had this Earth, or planet, and it had sort of like, almost like going back in time really, sort of very basic structures like mud huts and things that made of earth fibre. And there was somebody that was working with, from the view I was having, it was somebody working with fire. And then there were gardens, somebody working with gardens of flowers and various other things. And it felt like there was a settlement. And on the right-hand side to my view, there was a river, a fast-flowing river. And on the opposite bank of this river, there was a figure that was walking, that felt male, walking towards the river, and he was dressed in dark colours, and you couldn't see, it was like cloaked, you couldn't see his face, and he came towards the river's edge, the bank. And whilst that was happening, inside of me, I was like, who's that? What's happening? Who's that? So I was noticing my response to the vision that Archangel Metatron was giving me. And I was like, oh, who's that? Who's coming? And then one of the chaps from dealing with the fire, they were making something with the fire, walked over to the riverbank, and they started to have a communication of some sort. And then what I saw after that was, miraculously, this hooded figure was standing next to this other man, and my response was like, ooh, what's going on? How did he do that? Blah, 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 blah. And then they both walked towards the fire. As they did so, the man took off his cloak and went towards the fire, was sat down, given some food. Now, my response to that was very much on a third dimensional layer. Third dimensional layer to me is where the earth is full of, everybody knows it, it's full of yin and yang. So it's black and white, it's love and hate, it's a world full of duality. So my response was very much from a third dimensional aspect of, this is definitely duality. What Metatron then explained to me was, the man who was moving across to greet this other man was the guardian of the land. And he was going to check out, if you like, from a higher dimensional point of view, who was approaching and what their vibration was and what their needs were, that this community could commune with for the benefit of all. This is raising it now to a fourth dimensional type of life where you bring everything in through the filter of compassion. The communication was telepathic, so this is very much a higher fifth dimensional type of lifestyle where everybody can where everybody is okay about being seen exactly the way they are, and no secrets. So it's just, here I am, this is it. And so they had this communication, and he explained, then they teleported over the water and then walked over and communed. Then there was a the reason they went to the fire was the person that came said he was of fire and he could help with the fire. So he was going to where they were working with the fire so they could actually work together as a team and produce something of more harmony. So it was really interesting for me because Metatron showed me this vision, the first one he showed me, and we clocked where I was in this third dimensional fearful space of, ooh, who's coming, what's happening? And then easily tapped into the freedom of the fourth and the fifth response, which is, as soon as we enter into the fourth dimension, It is no longer duality. We enter unity. And unity is a vibrational essence of life where there is no war. Just imagine this for a moment. There's no war. There's no knowledge of war. There's no hate, no jealousy, no envy, no fear. And this is the vision that Metatron introduced me to and said, this is the plan for Mother Earth. This is the plan for our life now. And it was with great relief to me to have this information delivered, because he was saying then, this is back in 2012, that basically there was enough light beings in the universe now coming to assist humanity. It was no longer humanity's choice to muck it up. And the fact that we were having so much input now that this new Earth was a guarantee that it's actually happening. There would be quite a lot of chaos leading up to those points as people let go of the old stories and paradigms and relaxed into the potential of the new. So what's happened since then is he's given me different views, and one of the lovely visions that he's given me was he gave me we go back to the same village all the time, and it's changing. So over the last several years, what's actually happened is he's shown me that different people have landed there. Like some are building with glass houses, some are building with metal, some are building with under the earth, some are built, they're all representatives of the unique signature that family or that community is. So all of these different families and communities are coming together, owning their own particular gorgeous, amazing vibration that they are, and building and living in communities in harmony, in houses or shelters or sanctuaries that they're building because their essence needs that particular basic materials to feel fully engaged at home and healthy with. And everybody's assisting each other in this world. It's very community led. And what's really interesting as well is over this time he started to show me some, and the only way I can describe it is sort of like 6-sided shaped flags made of marble, white marble, but it isn't marble, but I don't know what it is. And they're placed on the floor and they're all producing a network together. And it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, each vision I had. And the children were running on this particular part of the land, and they were having fun and they were playing and doing a bit of hopscotch in my mind. And as time's gone on, pillars of like trees, so trees grew up around this space of white sacred geometry, and they produced pillars for other vines and beautiful, gorgeous coloured flowers to grow upon. They're joining at the top now to produce some shelter for those gathering underneath. And that is the temple of the blessed. And everybody's invited. Everybody has access to the one place where they can come and play and gather and tell stories and to be taught the wisdom of the universe. So Archangel Metatron has a plan, we're in it, and he's assisting us doing that. There's something called a big dollop of faith and trust that one needs in order to do this. And my test was, he said the first cosmic awakening that he'd like me to do was to go to London. London is the Earth Star chakra of our planet, and he wanted it embedded there. So it's also pricey to hire anywhere there. And he said, there's 40 people hire a place, 40 will come, and we start in London. So you can imagine, right? Never done anything like this before, and it was like, come on, we can do this. So my daughter Natalie helped me find the perfect place to have it in London, and we hired the place out, and you have to obviously pay deposits, and I put out there that we were having a couple of days in London, and we were going to do our first Cosmic Awakening series with Archangel Metatron guiding every step of the way. No, I didn't know what that meant. And, you know, please come. I had trained some people over time in a healing and vibrational medicine 2-year course, and I asked some of the girls would they come with me to support the energy at the time. So 6 people said they would, and we were set. Great. Month before the event, nobody signed up. 3 weeks before the event, nobody signed up. So I had a word with the girls and said, I'm sorry, you know, from a training point of view, from a logical, from a business point of view, this wasn't making any sense at all. It was going to be quite a lot of money to spend out, and I couldn't offer them, you know, to cover any of their expenditure. And yet I still felt we need to do this. I've said yes to my universal place here, so I need to do this. And logically, Nick and I, my husband, is my rock, and logically it made no sense. But he supports me in knowing that when I get these feelings, these sensations, these intuitive knowings that this is right, we kind of have to forget the financial constraints, the worries of how does one pay the bills that month if one's going to be spending it all on that, etc., etc. So we decided we'd surrender to this information and we'd go anyway. So Nick and I said, well, at least it'll be 2 days in 2 days in London. We can sit in that room and we can do whatever we want to do. So the way the magic started to work then is we said a big fat yes. No logical reason to do so whatsoever, but we said yes to our pathway. And we told the girls, we're going anyway, but, you know, and 4 of them said, oh, we want to come too. And I was like, well, I can't, you know, pay for you to do this, isn't it? And they're like, no, we'll do it, we'll come too. And I was like, right, okay. So 6 of us were going. Literally in the last 3 days, and actually on the day, the first day of that Cosmic Awakening event, we had 7 people attend. 7. So between us all, that was 13. And 13 is the magic number of circles that make up Metatron's cube. And we'd cut these circles out to actually do a meditation on the floor for everybody to lie in a crystal grid with these circles. And I found that quite amusing. But then I was thinking, well, Metatron, you said it was going to be 40 and it's 7 attendees and there's 13 of us. But it was enough for us to go and make it an easy entry into this world. And we had a phenomenal time. Phenomenal, a real expansive time. And I thank everybody for coming, for trusting and coming. And so when I got home, I live in mid Wales, and I said to Metatron, okay, so how do I get clear about receiving numbers and things? Because you said 40, I thought you said 40, and it was 7. And he said, take it back to the Land of the Dragons. Land of the Dragons is my nickname for Wales here in the UK. And we hired a lovely hall in mid Wales called Gregynon. And guess what? How many attendees for the same event of Cosmic Awakening? 33. and the universal magic numbers, but obviously added to 7 is 40. And he said, and he was laughing, and we had some fun with this because it was like, I didn't factor in it was part A and part B. After that, I guess I'd gone through that test within myself of my own belief and trust, and we got more accurate about where and when and how many. So I just wanted to tell you that story because sometimes life asks us, to do what we consider a big thing, and fears can come in, judgments can come in, logic can come in to stop us doing it. And yet, if we trust our inner language, and we really know that is a big fat yes, then go do it. Do the thing that drives that passion. Because if you follow that passion, everything else falls into place around you. If you go do the thing that you were born to do, despite it not making sense in the logical third dimensional realm, you'll live more in the fourth and fifth, and it is a much happier existence. So several years on, 2019 now, we've swapped over to Serafina, who is not a detailed person. I've had the opposite, the male kind of influence now and the female influence, and she's very flowing and subtle and strong. But she's told me the places we need to go and why, and she's with us the whole time to enable us to receive what we need to receive from these lands and to give back in equal measure. So it's a whole new inner landscape I'm learning. Life is a continuous school. So I hope you can devote some time and take inspiration a bit from this story, that even if it sounds bonkers, if you've got that passion and fire in your belly, if you really know it just feels right, you have a knowing, then go do the thing. Because we need you and the world needs you. And please follow your passion. Lots of love, soul to soul. See you soon. Bye for now.